All right, so we're going to take a look at the side nav component. Now we saw a little bit of this in the navbar section. In fact, if I go back to navbar and the responsive one we did here, if I click that, we get a side nav that pops out, and that's what we're going to do, but we're going to add more to it. We're going to have like an image up here with an avatar and some other stuff, some icons, and just make it look really nice. So let's go back to side nav, and this is 5_2 side nav HTML. And notice I have a UL here, and I have an LI that wraps around a div that has another nested div with an image, and then we have a link that surrounds an image. We have a span with a name, a span with an email. So we're going to make this here look pretty nice and be part of the side navigation. All right, so first thing we want to do is take this UL and give it an ID of slide dash out. Now this ID, this can be anything you want. This is just what we're going to call when we have our trigger to actually make the side nav pop out. So this can be anything. All right, but you do want to have a class of side dash nav. All right, and then this div right here, I'm going to give a class of user view, which allows us to have a pretty cool UI with an image in the background, and you'll see once it's added. We also need a class here of background. Okay, and then for the image, we're going to use, let's use image4.jpg. Okay, and then for the A tag here, I'm just going to have it go nowhere, so just hash exclamation. And then for this image here, I'm going to give a class of circle. Remember, we can do our circle images, and I'll give it a source of image 5. And then for this link here, again, it's not going to actually go anywhere. Normally it would go to like a profile, but I'm not going to have it go anywhere. And then for this span, I'm going to give this a class of white text, because this will actually be over the image. And then I'm also going to give it a class of name. Okay, and then here on this email, I'm also going to give that a class of white text, and I'm going to give it a class of email. All right, so this is very typical of some kind of link to a dashboard or something like that, or actually we have the dashboard link down here, but to see your user information once you're logged in. So for the dashboard, again, this will just go nowhere. These links aren't going to actually work. And then for the icon, we'll add our material icons class, and let's make this, there's actually an icon called dashboard. We'll use that. And then let's see, posts, and we can also have dividers, just lines that kind of divide sections. So this div, I'm going to give a class of divider. And then this account info, I want this to be like a subhead, so I'm going to give that a class of subheader. And then we have a logout button, so I'm going to give that a class of, let's do waves effect. And it's not actually going to go anywhere. Same thing with this here. All right, and then down here, this A tag, this is going to be our activator. So the href isn't going to go anywhere, but we're going to have a data activates attribute, and we're going to set that to, remember, we have the ID of slide out. This is where we're going to call it. All right, this also has to have a class of button collapse. Okay, just like it did in the navbar. And then we'll have it wrapped around an icon. So we'll say material dash icons, and we'll give this the icon of menu. And let's save it. So it's not going to work yet. because we actually have to initialize it. So we'll go down here and let's say button collapse, because that's a class on the trigger, and we need to call side nav. Okay, so let's save that and let's try it, and there we go. And you can see this looks really nice. We have our little dashboard link with the avatar and the name and email, account info, logout. So it's a pretty nice effect, pretty nice look. And we have some options that we can add for this as well. If we wanted to change the width, we could do menu width. If we wanted to change it to, let's say, 400 pixels, actually we just do 400. And now if I click it, you'll see that it's much thicker. I think the default is 300. And then we can also change where it is. So if we say edge, let's do edge right, and now it comes out from the right. Okay, I'm going to put it back to left though. We can also do close on click, which is true by default. Let's just try it. So if I click on, I guess, let's see, let's do close on click true. Okay, so if I click outside, it closes, but if I put this to false, it still does. Not exactly sure what close on click does, but I know it is an option. Let's see. It might have to do with touchscreens. Actually, one thing that does have to do with touchscreens is draggable. So that's set to true. Now this will allow you to choose what if you want to be able to drag to open it on touchscreens or not. I think the default is true, so that's what I'm going to keep it as. We can also do callbacks for when it's open and closed. So for instance, let's put a comma here, and let's say on open, we'll say function, and we'll say alert, or actually let's do a console log. And we'll say menu open, and then we can also do on close. Let's say console.log menu close. Alright, so now what I'll do is open up our console with F12, and let's open it up, and we get menu open. Close it, we get menu close. So if you want something to happen in JavaScript when you open and close the side nav, you can do that easily. Alright guys, so that's going to be it. So in the next video we're going to take a look at Pushpin, which is kind of unique. It's kind of a way to lay out your page. We're not going to be able to use our normal layout because it's going to take up the entire page, so we can't have our menu items, but you'll see. We'll take a look at that next.